Welcome, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us. As always, I'm super excited to welcome our guest. But before I do, I want to thank some people that we always thank. We want to thank brassandwinds.com, Quinn the Eskimo company. When we at the Willow School are looking for musical instruments, especially brass and winds, we always turn to brassandwinds.com first. They're fantastic people, and they've been terrific to us, and we want you to give them a try. Brassandwinds.com. You're watching Truer MU, where you can take courses online to increase your piano skills, where you can listen to a variety of interviews from folks from Rick Beato to Tom Wehrman. And we hope you'll join us every week for a different interview. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce our guest to you now. Most recently, I got a chance to accompany a woman named Indra Thomas, and she knocked me out. Performing with her was just a great experience. And we talked a while, and I told her about our show, and she said she would definitely like to be on it. So I invited her and she said yes. So let me tell you a little bit about Indra. Indra is known for her lush and warm voice. Ms. Thomas has performed at many of the world-class opera houses and venues, including Royal Albert Hall and Carnegie Hall. Her work has been marked by rapturous public and critical acclaim. She's also maintained a presence in film, appearing in such features as Driving Miss Daisy and The Upside. Indra, welcome to our show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Oh, I'm so happy to have you here. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Thank you.
Let's begin by talking about, well, I usually like to ask my guests, about where they've come from. Did you know you were going to be a musician all the way back to the beginning, or did this come to you gradually?
Well, it came to me to be a musician as a profession came to me gradually. Especially, your senior year in high school, and you kind of figure out, okay, life kind of starts now. I got to get on with it. And that's when I realized, okay, even though I've sung my entire life, I had to evaluate, from, age 0 to, 18 to figure out, okay, the one constant thing that has always been in my life and has always brought me joy was music. So that's what I chose. I went to Shorter College and majored in vocal performance, and then later to the Academy of Vocal Arts in Philadelphia to finishing school there to start my opera career.
Yeah, I want to talk about those places in just a bit.
Yeah.
First of all, I want to mention that most people are not constantly assessing and evaluating their voice before they're 18. That's really extraordinary. I mean, you obviously knew something was up and you had a decision to make.
Yes, definitely. Well, the questions start. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? And teenagers, don't think about tomorrow. We're thinking about the moment. And so after that, I had to really say, I think I want to be a singer. So, yeah.
Were you a typical teenager, do you think? Were you think you were different?
I definitely was different, 100% different. I don't know, I can't say I was a music geek, but very close to it. I was always around music. I was always singing. The most fun I ever had was always in choir, in school choir. Actually, I did a lot of school choirs. I didn't do a lot of church choirs growing up, which is kind of odd because my father was a minister. But I did a lot of school choirs, which I think benefited me more because I really migrated to classical music at an early age. And so that was where my heart was. That's where I really wanted to be and hopefully shine in one day. So.
Well, what was it about classical music that attracted you so much?
I don't know. It was definitely I don't know if it was like how the Pied Piper would play and the children would come. That's how classical music was for me. I was around a lot of different genres of music. I was around gospel a lot, obviously. I was around R&B and blues a lot, and I appreciated those genres just fine. But it was like classical music mesmerized me, and so when I thought about what I really wanted to be and major in college, it was definitely opera. I really wanted to be opera. And then when my teacher, Miss Mildred Fawcett at high school, started to teach me classically, she taught me a German piece. Then she taught me an Italian aria. And I was like, this is what yes, I'm home, you know? And I think I had the first glimpse of that when I was in elementary school, and my elementary school teacher, Miss Zerelda Smith, she was the one who she gave me my very first solo, which was the Schubert's Ave Maria.
Wow.
And so I thought, this is so wonderful. And of course, I was twirling around the house singing Ave Maria when I was a kid. And my mom, she too always wanted to be an opera singer. And so I think maybe I picked up that from my mom somehow, you know, so.
Yeah. Well, is your mom gratified that you've become an opera singer?
Yes. Well, my mother unfortunately passed away in '99, but she was very, very close to me, and because I studied in high school, and I did a lot of things classically in high school, and she was there, and she was so excited that I was going to be this opera singer. She saw it in me, so it was very, very, very happy the path
Well,
that I chose. Yes.
that's really wonderful. So, if this isn't too personal, when did she die? Where were you on the path when she passed?
Coincidentally, when the year she passed was the year I made my debut at the Metropolitan Opera and Carnegie Hall. It's the same year.
Okay.
And, you know, it was bittersweet. It's like, Mom, we made it. But, you know, so she literally died in January, and I debuted at the Met in March, and then later that year at Carnegie Hall. So I was at the very beginning of a very spectacular career.
But by then she could see that you were on the path.
Yeah,
So I'm sure.
absolutely. I felt her her and my father every step of the way, actually. Yeah.
Now, you started at Shorter College. You got a bachelor's in music with vocal performance there at Shorter. And
Yes.
are you from Atlanta, the Atlanta area?
Yeah, I was born and raised in Atlanta. It's very rare, you know, to find the Atlanta raised people.
I'm
But
one.
you know, we have oh, you're great. We have a little saying in my neck of the woods that I'm a Grady baby. In other words, I was born at Grady Hospital downtown.
Right.
And then that's a mark to say I'm an true Atlantan. But yeah, I was born and raised here. Came through the Atlanta public school system. I got a great education and much love from all my teachers there. And then went to Shorter College.
And Shorter's in Rome, correct?
Absolutely. Shorter is in Rome, Georgia.
And for those of our viewers that aren't from around here, Rome is not far off. It's about maybe an hour and a half to the northwest of Atlanta. So it's far away enough that you're not home, but it's close enough that you can go home for dinner.
Absolutely. But actually, this year I used to teach. It's coincidentally my first teaching assignment was at Shorter, now Shorter University, and so now I've moved over to Berry College, which is also in Rome, Georgia. And so, and I figured, okay, I'm obviously going to be hanging out in Rome for a while, so I got me a little baby apartment here, so I don't have to do that drive back and forth. But it's a bit of a drive because I'm like, you know, Atlanta traffic is nuts.
Yeah, it's a little easier in Rome. Well, what drew you to Rome?
I don't know. You know, I always feel that my whole life is some kind of divine revelation or something, or divine epitaph. I don't know. Because I was at a point in my career where I was looking to do something else and didn't quite know what it was. And Shorter called and said, listen, we need some singers. We need some teachers. Do you want to come and do some adjunct teaching? And I was like, oh, that's perfect. And so that when they called, I definitely went. I love Shorter. And I was it taught me so much about, you know, being a singer and being a performer. And so when they called, I said, yes, of course. And so I was there for 7 years, 8 years, 7 years. And so it was a beautiful, beautiful experience.
7 or 8 years as a teacher.
Yes, as a teacher. Yes.
Okay. What I originally meant is what drew you there as a student the first time?
Oh, as a student. Again, divine intervention, I should say, because when my teacher, my chorus teacher was also my voice teacher. This is a crazy story. She, at the end of my years at Charles Lincoln Harper High School, there, it's not there anymore in Atlanta. She asked me, well, what college are you going to? And I just confirmed. I was like, I'm not going to college. And she blew a gasket, of course, because she's been working with me for 4 years. So she's gotten my voice in a place and gotten me in a place of just like, okay, she's ready to go to college and kill it and all the above. And I told her I wasn't going to college. And so she said, yes, you are. So she called Shorter. She made me apply. And I went. My father brought me up during the summer because I was a late applicant, because it was April when she asked me the question. And they took me. They gave me a full ride. I don't know if they even do full rides anymore. And I was so blessed and to get that from them. And I was honored, and I tried to really be the best I could, student I could at Shorter. But anyway, that's what kind of drew me there. And when I got there, I was 2 weeks into the program. It's just, I'm just oblivious sometimes. I was 2 weeks into the program, and then I realized it was a Baptist college, which I thought was interesting because I'm Baptist. So, and then all the fun began. It was such a great experience. The teachers were wonderful. They were wonderfully hard and nurturing at the same time. And I thought I got some of the best training I could possibly get at Shorter.
Well, you told me that classical music bit you like the Pied Piper of Hamelin, and then you had decided you were going to do this. Why weren't you going to go to college?
I don't know. I just, again, as teenagers, you think you don't know what you're going to do, and you kind of shut down a little bit, and you don't think, well, maybe I'm not smart enough to get in college, or maybe I don't. My mother and father definitely didn't have the money, to really put me through college, and I think that really did play a factor in. There's no way I could pay for college, and my mom and dad couldn't pay for college, so college was not an option. I didn't think, but no one really sat down and explained to me scholarships. You're talented enough to get scholarships, And so, I know my teacher. I knew she. I guess she understood that, and she knew that all I had to do was just go and sing, and they would and tell them my story, and and obviously they gave me scholarships, and I was very, very fortunate and blessed that they believed in me enough to take a chance.
Yeah. Now, you had an extraordinary opportunity after that. You went to the Academy of Vocal Arts, and I want to tell people what this is.
Mhm.
It's the only tuition-free institution in the world devoted solely to operatic training and performance. They only take about 30 people a year, and they don't give degrees, they give artist diplomas.
Mhm.
Talk about getting into that school, what
Mhm.
it was like to attend, and what that place means.
Yeah. Well, ABA, we call it ABA. ABA only has no more than 30 students. So they only take in enough kids to complete the 30 student a year. So that means that it could be a large class that comes in, or one or two, it depends. So if they have 20 people, then 10 people come in. But if they have 25 or 27 or 28 people there, they're only looking for that one or two to fill out. It is a tuition-free school, which means it's very incredibly difficult to get into, and hundreds of people apply a year. And it is a 4-year hyper intensive opera program, and some people survive it and some people don't. All I know is that when you leave ABA, not like 9.9 times out of 10, you will already have an agent, and you have started your career, and you have already had gigs lined up in really prestigious places. It is one of the only opera programs that I know that almost guarantees, it has a very a high percentage of students that come out that walk into world class careers. I know so many of us are singing all over the world right now. And so that's the kind of education that you get. It's very tough. It's tough to be at that school because they really drill you, they really prepare you for an opera career as an opera singer and all the above. So I enjoyed every minute of it. I enjoyed it because I was incredibly green when I got there. And I think that was better than having all this, preconceived knowledge of, some of my colleagues had young artist programs, and I've been to young artist programs overseas and all the above. I've been in several operas and all this stuff. I've been in one opera, it was in English, and I had 5 arias and I was ready to go, by that time. So when I got there, I just soaked in the information. I was like a sponge. And I think for me, that was better for me than having to have gone to all these other different things, getting so much knowledge, and coming in with already heavy laden with too much stuff that they would have to clean out and get and start over anyway. I was already a nice clean slate.
I'm pretty, knowledgeable about music schools, but I had never heard of this place. How did you find it, and what made you decide to try to get in?
When I tell you, I was led. My voice teacher at the time is Elizabeth Colson, knew about this school, and she was notorious for training, for getting us technically trained and getting us out of the studios and going to career. She was really really adamant about that, because her whole concept is like, I'm training you for a career, so let's go. And so she told me about ABA. She had me audition. She had students who have gone to ABA. She thought this would be a great place for me, and so I went and I auditioned. And I think I've kind of heard whispers about it coming along in college. But yeah, it's that's how I heard about ABA.
That's great. Can you talk about a time at AVA? It could be it could be shorter too, but I'm thinking about a time in your academic career when you hit that moment where you were like, uh-oh, is this gonna go, or am I done here? Where you have to get through the moment, and you may not even know you're in it when you're in it.
So you're asking if is there a time that at the point where I figured I'm either going to do this or not?
Yeah, there's kind of like a turning point, like maybe something challenges you, like it's the wall you've been avoiding your whole life, or it's the thing you've been preparing for your whole life, and it hits you. Yeah.
Right. So again, the thing about being blissfully ignorant is that you're in the thick of it and you don't really know you're in the thick of it. So you're just kind of riding this wave of crazy and all the above. But my first semester at AVA was that wall I think you're talking about. The very first semester, I'll never forget, I was there and I realized this was tough. And I felt like I was literally, the water was here. And I was in the middle of the ocean that I just didn't understand and I didn't get. And I was trying so hard to just try to understand. And I was just pedaling like a little dog trying to stay afloat. And I was saying to myself, this is crazy. I don't think I could do this. This is absolutely crazy. I just want to sing, and this, I gotta learn languages and I gotta do this and I gotta do that. I was just like, what is going on? And so I called home and I talked to my sister at the time. I said, Cynthia, I think I'm coming home. I don't think I want to do this. She said, okay, just come home. You don't have to. I said, okay, I'm coming home. So I owed a conversation to my voice teacher, Ms. Colson, because in this business is who you know, and networking is very important. And so she had used her connections, and she had to get me an interview for the school and all the above. So I thought I owed it to her to call her and tell her that I'm not returning to AVA after Christmas break. It's too hard. I don't want to do it. And I called her. I said, Miss Colson, I'm not coming back. And she said, I'm coming home. And she said, you can do that, and I'm gonna put you in a car and I'm gonna drive you right back. I was like, what? She said, you're going to stay the entire year. Stay the entire year. And so after the break, I said, oh, okay, I'll stay a year. Oh, because why? It's like, why did you feel this way? It's because that's a growing pain. It's that growing pain of going from being a child to actually being an adult. And going over that hurdle is big and scary. And because now you're responsible, you're accountable for you. Whereas, your parents were accountable, your parents were responsible. Now it's up to you to keep you alive and to feed you and to keep you dressed and a roof over your head and, you know, transportation and bills and all the above. It's up to you now. And so I can't tell you how appreciative I was that she made me stay, because second semester I figured it out and it became the funnest thing in the world. It's like, this is fun. And then the second year at ABA, they introduced me to a man named Giuseppe Verdi. And then I was done. I'm in it for the long haul, because it was the most, his music was the best music for my personality and for my voice. And I'm so glad that I didn't give up, that someone was there to say, don't give up, to keep going.
Now, surely if you had a bachelor's in voice performance at Shorter, you must have come across Verdi before.
Not like this. No. You know, Verdi's for the big girls. And, you know, in college, it's a lot of, you know, art song and Handel and maybe a little bit of Puccini. I got introduced to Puccini, which I thought, oh my God, Puccini is where I'm supposed to be. Puccini is great. I'm a Puccini singer, you know. And then they introduced me to Verdi. I was like, okay, I got it. Now I know who I am.
Okay, well, I was going to ask about Verdi because you've talked about Verdi in your bio. First of all, tell me about the moment when you found Verdi, and then tell me what Verdi means to you.
Yeah. So the moment, obviously, it's the second year at my second year at ABA, and they were doing Il Trovatore by Verdi. And so I was one of the sopranos they put on the role. And my voice teacher, Miss Colson, had given me the aria from Il Trovatore, okay, which was great, but I was still feeling that I was more of a Puccini girl, even though the Verdi, and I love the aria, but when I got to sing the entire role, the aria made more sense. And then I thought, okay, now I know what I'm doing. And so it's when my voice could do all the Verdi things that Verdi required. It required agility. It required long legato phrasing. It required a big, large 2-octave range, full from bottom to top and back down. And it required float, to be able to float the high notes, but also to give a little bit of more power in the high, and to have that nice chest voice to articulate the low for Verdi, and then the evenness throughout the whole registration of the 2 octaves that you have to sing before the night is over. So when that happened, then I got moved to my second Verdi opera, which was I think the second opera I sang was Aida, which was another kind of beast. It was a longer night, a lot of my second Verdi that I had to sing was Gilda, actually, Rigoletto. They gave me Gilda and Rigoletto, and I didn't necessarily think that I was a Gilda, but I'm glad they did, because it was a longer, kind of more involved role than the Il Trovatore, a bit longer, a bit more different involved, which kind of led me to the Aida eventually, that I got to sing, which was a totally different, more lyric lines, not so much agility that you needed, that you would need for the Trovatore or the Rigoletto. And then I moved to Un ballo in Mascara and loved that role even more than Aida. Aida is it's a long night. It's a lot of stamina involved, a lot of energy to give to a role for 2.5 hours straight. To be on stage for that long is a lot. And so I really enjoyed the Amelia in Un ballo in Mascara, because it was different. She was a different type. I related to her better than Aida, I think. Even though I'm known for Aida, I kind of related to Amelia a little better. And then my creme de la creme, which was La Forza del Destino, I got to sing only one production of it in Tokyo. And but that was fun. And I really enjoyed that opera a great deal. And Verdi really, the music of Verdi really allowed me to show all the colors of my voice, all that what my voice could do. And it also allowed me to give a glimpse of my soul, who I am as a person. And it really, the words, the music really spoke to me in a way that treated me like the Pied Piper did with the kids. It would mesmerize me, and I could lose myself. And there's not a lot of music that I can lose myself in, but the Verdi was definitely. And then oh, I can't forget his most famous opera, the Verdi Requiem. It's a joke. But yeah, but it's an oratorio, and that is one of my most favorites. And that's actually the debut I had at Carnegie Hall. And I'm so grateful for that whole piece. That piece, the Verdi Requiem, is the most special of the pieces of the Verdi repertoire for me, because it gels the classical music with church. And I get to actually praise God in this piece, which and I get to glorify God and give him thanks for this voice that he gave me. And I love that piece so much because of that. And the year that I debuted it was definitely at Carnegie Hall. Both my parents were gone at the time. And when it got to, if anybody knows the piece, at the soprano ends the entire repertoire, the whole piece, with this a huge aria called Liberame, which means deliver me. And then, Requiem is the mass for the dead, some celebration for the death of the ones who's gone before us, asking God to give them perpetual light and to look over them and give them peace while they sleep. So you see the connection, whereas both my parents are gone, and I'm asking God to deliver me save me from my sins, but also keep my loved ones in perpetual light and look over them and shine. And so it was like gelling that church with the thing that I did for my entire career, classical music. And that's I think singing oratorios like that is the most rewarding for me, because it really does give, not that I don't praise God and give glory to God through Aida or Ballo or any of the roles that I sing, but it's almost a more special connection for me for that.
It sounds like Verdi not only gives you a chance to exercise all of your vocal mechanism, which is fun and pleasing, you get to use everything you've got, but that he, because he's such an intelligent composer, and because he requires such intelligence, you get to use your mind fully as well, and your personality.
Yes, absolutely. I agree with you 100%. And so I definitely enjoy it's so moving, a good Verdi anything.
Well, let's talk a little bit about your performance style. I'm having seen you both on video and in person, luckily, when I could look up from the keys anyway.
Yes.
You are a very dynamic performer, especially in your face.
Thank you.
I noticed that your focus is, sometimes singers are focused on this kind of ethereal something around them. You're focused
Yeah.
out there on the audience. I
Yeah.
feel in the third or fourth row that you are singing to me. And
Oh,
that's powerful stuff. Your face is so full of life, and you're actually, you can see the aria on your face. Now
yeah.
that takes an incredible amount of work,
Yeah.
as if singing wasn't enough work. Can you talk about striking the balance between doing the work you have to do to make the instrument sound good versus all of this, which brings it another level? It's hard to
Yeah.
do both.
Well, I'm one of those people who I'm one of those people who has to tell the story of the piece. So if we consider that telling a story is like, if we talk, Little Red Riding Hood, and if we tell a story, we tell the story with our words, right? So what if we tell the story with our music and we sing the story as we go along? It's the same type of thing. So I especially want you to feel whatever world that I want to create, that I can bring you into that world and that you can experience that world with me. So if I'm singing in German, or if I'm singing in Italian, or if I'm singing in English, I want you to be in that world. And for me, it's the acting that enhances and tells the story for me. So I'm hoping that whatever I say to you, or whatever facial expression that I give, or hand gesture that I give, is helping you along that journey of whatever journey that I want to take you on that day. So that's how I am. I was one of those singers that had to just stand still and just look into the world, and there's nothing wrong with that either, because there's something about being fixed on something and having the audience kind of draw into you. So there are different elements I like to do. So I will fixate on something and tell that and put energy towards that one spot, and hopefully you'll feel that energy around you, and then I'll bring it back to you, into the audience, or I'll do a combination of the both. Either way, I'm telling you a story and I'm using my voice to do it, but I'm also using my body to tell you the story too. So I tend to, whenever I really feel that I've accomplished learning a song, is that I've gotten that song into my body. So I want to feel what I sing first before I deliver it to you. So so if I feel that I want to do this and come to you this way, then I will. If I feel I have to back off, I will. So hopefully I can inhale whatever I'm feeling first, and then so that even the timbre of my voice speaks what I'm singing. You can feel fear, or you can feel love, or you can feel happiness, joy, anger, from even the timbre of my voice. So even if you're blind, but you can hear me just fine, I hope that the way I shape the phrase, or the way I say the word, you can still hear the acting from within. So that's why I do what I do. And I think that's what sets me apart from most people. But that's what I remembered when I would watch, you know how young singers, we watch old clips of other singers, and those are the singers that I related to the best. Those were the acting singer, as opposed to the person. I totally enjoy the singer that stands and sings as well. I was covering Carol Vaness and Simon Bocanegra at San Francisco, and Sam Raimi was singing Fiesco, and he was one of those guys that just stands and delivers. And he sang his aria, and he moved 3 times, and I couldn't take my eyes off of him. And I was like, yeah. Okay, so I just learned something. Standing still means it's just as important as moving. So having that nice balance between the two is always good. It was some of the most fantastic acting I've ever seen in my life, and he moved 3 times. It's great.
Well, clearly you've learned a lot about this.
Mm-hmm.
What were you most naturally able to do? Did you tend to be a natural stand stiller? Did you tend to be a natural move arounder? What did you have to get better at?
I had to get better at not moving around, because I was like a little like a little bunny hopping around. And my teacher, because essentially it's a detriment to singing off on the body, to sing because we use our bodies to sing. We're acoustic singers, so we use our body to sing. And if you're always jumping around, you can't get the nice little breath you need. So there is a way that you can move, but you got to move in a way that you move from the core. So my teacher literally would have people hold my legs why? So I wouldn't hop around as I sang, because I thought I had to move. I say, if I'm moving, I'm emoting. And eventually, so what you don't know, you feel like if you're a singer, you're moving and you're emoting and all this kind of stuff, but all the audience see is this. So you feel like, you feel like a twerking doll or something, instead of, there's something about standing still and letting the audience come in. And when you do a gesture, it means much more than you looking like you're directing traffic on stage.
Yeah, I was going to say you move a lot, and yet it never looks
Yeah.
like this.
Well,
Really,
I
every
try.
movement is deliberate, but
Yeah.
you do move a lot though. But you
Yeah.
manage to do it without looking like you're bopping around.
Precisely. So that's what I had to work on. How to move without looking like a, a twerking doll or something.
You mentioned something to me that I thought was very interesting, and I'd like you to talk about it for some of the younger singers that are out there. You talked about varying your repertoire between opera and other kinds of singing, and how important that is to your career and to your voice.
Well, it's more important to your bank account, right? So we are independent contractors, right? And so unless you are independently wealthy, which I don't know many independently wealthy singers out there. There are a few, but even they have to really worry about getting jobs. I mean, really, you tend to take the job. So if they need a jazz singer, then guess where you're gonna go? You're gonna go over there to sing some jazz. If they need, because doing those weddings and bar mitzvahs and all that kind of stuff, it just kind of fills in the blanks, right? So, I mean, they're paying you $250 here or something like that. So if you have five $250 jobs that month, then that can pay some bills, you know? So, so you have to really learn and allow yourself to be versatile. I know that we're worried about our voices and all the above, but, and also too, you don't want to you don't want to get so obsessed with one genre. It's like taking a vacation. So whenever I was singing, classical music is working for me, like really working. But going over here doing some Gershwin jazz concert, that's not working. And it releases, the stress of sometimes, so that when you have to go back to the big opera, you're a little bit more relaxed because you just did this Gershwin concert over here, right? Sometimes you got to sing some pop songs and all the above. And sometimes, and also too, doing all that music teaches you that genre. So when the big conductors come to you and say, hey, I want to do a pops night, you're like, okay, cool. I know some pop songs. So I know some musical theater pieces we can do. So because you did that and doing a few, I would say if you're an opera singer, doing a few legit musical theater pieces will also benefit you as well, because some opera companies are doing like West Side Story and Carousel and Sweeney Todd and all these type of like legit Sound of Music. So it wouldn't hurt to have that kind of being able to sing that type of music in your pocket, so that when they call you, you can be ready. You have that versatility to be able to switch to do the things you do, so you can actually get paid. And I am of the belief that every performance teaches you something. So if you're at the bat mitzvah and you're singing some Katy Perry or something like that, I promise you, it taught you something about your belting voice, or it taught you something about how to negotiate going from the bottom voice to the middle voice, or it taught you something about how to negotiate going from a mix to a head voice. So those and you think, hey, I can use that when I'm singing, Il Pirata or something by Bellini, whatever. So because if you're trained well, it all kind of rides together. So.
Well, let's talk about an opportunity you had that came your way that you managed to do with flying colors. And this is something that anyone in the world can see. You got a chance to sing Queen of the Night in a film. And that film is The Upside. Come about.
That was not me. I was lip syncing. I have to be honest. I'm not gonna claim that was me. It feels like it was me because people are like, I heard you sing. I was like, no. I forget the name of the young lady they used, because I'm not a Queen of the Night. I don't sing that high. I haven't sung that high since I was a kid. But I was an actor in that film. I was more of an actor than I was a singer. Okay. That was my vocals in Driving Miss Daisy. Yeah. I did sing in that movie, but I have to be honest that I did lip sync to, cannot remember the young lady's name and I don't want to mess it up, but yeah, and they'll tell you in the credits. Okay. I don't know if they put my name in the credits. I hope
they
not.
Did. They absolutely did. IMDb, you are there.
Oh, well, okay. So the funny thing was this, I was lip syncing, but I was actually singing the queen. And so when it got to the F's and stuff, I was popping up the F's and all the above, but I was like, oh my God. I said, wow, this is so much fun. I probably couldn't do it on my own, but anyway, it was a really great experience. And I was so glad to have the opportunity to do that. One of my friends, who was the dean of music at ABA, called me. She said, they're looking for opera singers. Can you come up to Philly? And I was like, yeah, I can do a day trip up to Philly and get this. And so I called the agency. I think it was Telsey. It's a big, huge agency that does a lot of casting for a lot of things. And I called them up, and the director was actually there in the room, and I did the Queen of the Night. I did it. I auditioned, and I saw these other singers there. I was like, oh, they're not gonna call me. You know, they called me later that week, and I was just ecstatic.
Wow.
So it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to shoot that, actually. A lot of, and
You've got
that,
Bryan Cranston and Kevin Hart and Nicole Kidman. Did you get to meet any of them?
none of them. None of them.
Oh,
It literally was a day. It's just like, I did get to meet some of the actors in Driving Miss Daisy, but I didn't get to meet any of the actors in The Upside. So I don't know if you saw, but they put me in this huge, gigantic dress
yes.
that I literally had to walk into the skirt of it. And so that took forever to set up. So I didn't really get to meet anybody because I was too busy trying to set up. And then we shot the scene, and the young man who played Papageno is one of my best friends, John Miles. And so we were so ecstatic that we were going to be in a movie together. And his wife was in the audience. She was an extra. You know, it was so much fun.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to ask you a difficult question.
Mm-hmm.
How conscious are you on a regular basis of race or a Black identity as a singer of color?
So this is very interesting question. I could tell you that during my career, I didn't really see blatant racism. I felt racism, but it wasn't like in my face. The only thing that I really came up against in my career was that the amount of Black singers in major traditional roles was few and far between. I was singing, and I think the reason I sang so many Aidas was because I was Black. I didn't really get to sing much other things than Verdi. And I think because of what the long-standing history of Leontine Price, who did a lot of the Verdi singing. And so I felt, in hindsight, I felt as if I got a lot of the Verdi stuff because of Miss Price, and her legacy, and they're used to seeing a Black soprano in those particular roles. Because when I look at it, there was Michelle Kreider, who did a lot of Aidas, who did a lot of Madame Butterflies, a lot of Barlows. I look at it and I see over the years, Shirley Verrett, you know, the same Black sopranos in the same type of roles. And so and my colleagues, my peers, my other Black sopranos in the business who came along with me were too singing the same roles. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The Aidas, the Barlows, not too much other things. No Mimis, no Turandots, Liu, singing Liu's, because of Leona Mitchell, who was a Black soprano. So for that end, it's like we were only allowed to sing certain roles that was already conquered by other Black sopranos. So it's like, we know you can sing these roles because these Black sopranos sang these roles, right?
Right.
So when I was asked to sing Zenta, I was ecstatic to do that role. And I think that's the only other role outside of Verdi that I sang Imogena in Il Pirata by Bellini. But one thing that I thought was very controversial is that I sang Desdemona and Othello at the Caramel Festival,
Yes, that is very interesting.
which is a big deal because the Black Othello talks about the white skin of Desdemona and the blonde hair and all the above. So we had a white Othello and a Black soprano as
That makes
Desdemona.
sense. Yeah.
But I can tell you that that was one of the most brilliant experiences I've ever had. And that role is magnificent and it set like honey in my voice. It was like playtime. That role was fantastic. And I'm so glad that I got an opportunity to show a little controversy in that part of my career. I always felt that I couldn't rock the boat too much. I couldn't really stand up and say, I want to do something else other than Aida, because I was in the stamp of approval soprano roles. Also, I came up against the fact that if one of my colleagues, Black soprano friends, were singing constantly at one opera house, I couldn't sing at that opera house because they already had a Black soprano singing there. So they didn't need me to sing there. So things like that in my span, I started in 2000, kind of like 98, and spanned that until up until the pandemic, kind of spanned. That's the kind of career that's the kind of things that were happening in my career. Needless to say, it did not stop me from becoming an international opera singer.
Yes.
So those are the platforms you gave me. I try to do my best and sing my best on those platforms so that you understand that not even though you try to put me in a box, I'm still international. So that's I think that's big, even though people want to put you in a box. Yeah.
So I'd like to wind up by having you offer your advice maybe to three different groups of people.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, the first group would be young people, maybe children or high schoolers who are just not sure if singing is for them, but they maybe like to. The second
Mm-hmm.
group would be people who are in their college or in their postgraduate doing it, but they haven't made it into a career yet. What would you like to say to them? And then finally, what would you like to say to your peers who are out there doing it now with you?
Mm-hmm. So for every level that you just talked, first ground zero, listen to yourself, listen to your instinct, listen to your heart, listen to your soul. I when I was growing up, music was always in my soul. And I always thought, well, no, I'm not going to make a career of it. I'm not going to make a career of it. But when I had to be, when it came a chance for me to make a decision, I decided to make a career of it. So, and if you decide to make a career of it, it's not an easy thing, but if comparatively to any other profession, nothing's really easy. So you have to have stamina, and you have to have tenacity to get through to really study and be and go move forward in this music career. So for the young kids who are like middle school age and high school age, I would say start now with some type of voice lessons. And I would say also to try to sing as much as you can. Try to do like they have things like literary meets and stuff like that. Try to sing solos and stuff in literary meets. Sing solos in your church or sing solos with your friends, and for your do a little recital for your family. Really get yourself going as a soloist. So by the time you become a senior in high school, you would have experienced a lot of these things. Learn an instrument, learn piano. If you don't know which instrument, piano is always a good one to learn. Guitar is always a good one, but piano definitely. Piano is going to teach you and give you music theory that you will get before you have to go to college and do that. I would say for the middle school and high school kids, be sure that you are really giving, that you really are focused and that you really are practicing and really focus on music. So when you get to when you start making decisions about what you want to do, what kind of career you want to go into, you will know immediately if it's something you want to do for a career or just something on the side. And either way is okay. Give yourself permission to be okay with either. If you are in college and you know that you want to be a singer, a musical theater person, an opera singer, then you try your best to be in every opera they do every year, every musical theater. I don't care if it's ensemble, be a part of it. I don't care if you're doing backstage, if you're helping moving furniture, do the work. Pay strict attention to your voice lessons, strict attention to your piano lessons, strict attention to your music theory, and strict attention to your music history. Those things were very crucial and very helpful for me in my career, along with all the other things that I had to do as well. Try to be in the top ensemble in your college so that you can always do solos, so you will know what it feels like to sing a solo over a choir. All you're doing is training yourself to start being in a career. And for those of you who are in college who are not sure what you want to do, I say, but you know you want to be in the arts, then I say try your hand at everything. Try doing the opera 1 year. Do the musical theater 1 year. Do a straight play 1 year. Do help them with the backstage, run the lights. Move the furniture, so you never know what part you want to be in, and all the above. To get in a choir, sing in choir, you may be a choir director or whatever. But all I say is try your hand at different parts of this music career, because you don't know where you wind up. You may wind up being a fantastic orchestra conductor. You never know. But because you had a taste of all of it, it can help you solidify what you want to, what part of the music world you want to be in or not. The most important thing is to figure out if you want to do it. And also too, just because you don't want to do it now, don't mean you won't pick it up later. And for my peers out there who are singing, I just say, be sure just to keep singing wonderfully, but be sure you understand that the word no is just important as the word yes, and that rest is more important sometimes than taking that gig. I know we are trying to get paid. I know we feel like if we don't take the gig, we're going to miss out or they're going to forget about us. If you are really good at what you do, they're not going to forget about you. I can tell you that right now. Be kind to yourself always. Always give yourself self-love, love in this business, because this business can make you feel that everybody hates you, including yourself. And that's not true. Don't believe the lie that you're not loved in this business. And that someone loves you is obviously, if they're giving you standing ovations at the end of your at the end of your concerts and operas, then they love you. Somebody loved, at least that audience loved you. So don't believe the lie that you're not loved. Be patient with yourself always. So as well. And I think there's so many other things that I could say, but those are the definite things that I definitely can say. All the way across the board. Self-love, patience is a very important thing. No is sometimes more important than yes. Just because you can don't mean you should. And yeah, that's all I got.
Well, how can people hear you, find out more about you? How do you want them to contact you?
Well, they can go to my Facebook page. I have 2 pages. I have Indra Thomas Soprano, and my personal page is also public because I only do things on my Facebook page. I am on my Facebook page more than I am on my Instagram, but I do post a great deal there. I'm not very diligent about keeping up my website, but I will try to post my next other things on my website as well. I should be doing that now. And yeah, so those are the things. Find me on, I'm Sop Indra Thomas on Instagram, SOP Indra Thomas, which is short for soprano. And then Indra Thomas on Facebook, and Indra Thomas Soprano is my fan page.
Okay, and your website?
And my website is www.indrathomas.com.
Indra Thomas, thank you so much for taking the time. It is a pleasure to get to know you and learn more about you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. This was so much fun. Thank you.
And thank you also, audience. We appreciate you tuning in week after week to hear these talks. If you like what you're hearing, please like our videos. If you want to talk back to us, leave a comment. We want to know what you think, and we want to know what else you'd like to hear. Once again, you can check us out at truermu.com. I'm Adam Cole. Thanks very much, and we'll see you next time.